All right, welcome to camp, guys. And if you see these wonderful people, we have Marissa and Sandra and Rick. They are the winners of our Mother's Day giveaway. And I'm going to share my screen and share, I'm going to read their stories that they submitted. We had hundreds and hundreds of entries, and it was truly amazing to read about everyone and what they felt about their moms, aunts, grandmothers. And so I'm excited to share this. Let me share my screen. So in first place, you see here we have, let's put this in presentation mode so it looks nice. I'll pull that guy over here. All right. We have Miss Sandra, who's actually here. And Sandra, I don't know if you got to hear what your daughter, who is Marissa, you see her raising her hand, had to say about you, but it was pretty amazing. So Marissa nominated her mother, Sandra, and here's what she had to say. My mom, Sandra, is a first generation Mexican woman who shows her love and care through the craft that is Mexican cuisine. She was taught as a young girl, like many women from Hispanic families, that cooking not only feeds the body, but it also feeds our soul. And it's important to cook with love and care so that our families will continue to grow strong. She learned all these lessons from my abuela, and I'm going to have you say her name because I do not want to butcher it, Marissa.
Her name is Amparo.
Paulo. I love that. Beautiful. Who unfortunately passed away January 1st, 2023 at 90 years due to heart failure. For many years prior to her death, my grandmother cooked our family meal for our family every day of her life, always making our family dishes, surprising us with new treats, and of course, slaving away for holidays dinners. During those years, my mom took care to record my grandmother's cooking in the camcorder, since she never wrote down any of the recipes, that they were seasoned from the heart. It's important for us to capture this footage so that we could replicate her recipes once she's no longer with us. Last year was our second Christmas making tamales without grandma, but luckily we had the videotapes of her making her salsa and cooking, and the cooking came. We also played a bit of that video and hit pause in order to follow along with each step. I love this. I'm so like I cannot believe, I'm so excited that you guys have this footage, Sandra, and I'm excited that you're able to keep these culture and these recipes alive. There are so many people, I think, from Hispanic families to Southern families to many cultures who we do cook from the heart, and they're not necessarily written down with exact science. And I think you were so smart to videotape uh, the um, the methodology to these recipes, and so that you are able to go back and recreate that. I muted you, but if you'll unmute yourself, I would love to hear if you guys could share a little bit more. Who came up with the idea of videotaping? Because that's so clever. I love that.
Okay there. There.
Yeah. So, a lot of her recipes, she didn't write anything down, and she would always, when I would ask, she'd be, oh, it's just a little bit of this or a little bit of that, but never any kind of measurements. So, when COVID hit and I was working from home, my daughter was home from school, I thought, you know what, this is a great time for us to videotape her because there's no way for me to capture if it's a teaspoon, if it's a cup, the amount that she puts in. She goes so fast that it was very hard. She would even hate, to stop for us to like measure the ingredients that she was using. She would get frustrated. She's like, my mom would do it like this, and she just goes so fast. So I thought, I'm going to videotape her so that we can go back and watch it and remember, what she did, how she did it, how she cut the potatoes for the French fries. I mean, simple stuff like that, and to the more difficult mole, which took us, all day, couple of days to prepare. So yes, it was during the COVID times that I thought, videotaping would be great.
Right, right. I'm so glad that you did that. And I think it's so special. And it's I'm glad that you have those tapes and that you're making this family cookie, so that you can keep those, culture and that heritage alive, for future generations. We often see, as we just get caught up in the day to day, we don't take the time to write these things down, and they do kind of slowly get lost over generations. So you are keeping that strong, and I think that's what your story inspired us so much. So thank you for being here, Marissa. You clearly love your mother, and she's very lucky to have you. You're a wonderful daughter, and I think it's just inspirational to see you joining in on this
Thank
journey.
you.
So thank
Thank
you
you.
for being here.
Yeah, we've we've been wanting to do a cookbook. I mean, we talked about this for forever. I mean, before we even started doing the videotapes, we had wanted to do a cookbook. And man, especially last year, we would literally plug the camcorder into the TV, like through the outlets that some TVs don't even have anymore
Yeah.
nowadays. Like it was
Yeah.
so old school. Who even owns camcorders anymore? And the thought crossed our mind, like, well, what happens if like the camera stops working one day? Or, if we're not able to play the videos, like that will all we have is a little card and that's it. It's not anywhere else, So it was when I saw the opportunity to submit my mom for this,
Yeah.
I jumped at it because this would just mean so much for especially me, my mom, and my sister
Mm.
who want to keep cooking my grandma's recipes. But, I live in Texas now and they're in
Yeah.
California. So I don't have, any of that on hand. I'll text my mom and like, send me the recipe for this.
Yeah.
And, we
Yeah.
go off the text message now. So if I could actually have a, hard copy book that I could have with me at my house out here, I'll always be able to have a piece
Yeah.
of that, forever for my family also.
Absolutely. What part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Dallas.
Nice, nice. We've got some people in Dallas. My parents live in Rockport, which is north of Corpus Christi.
Okay.
I'm in Texas quite a bit. But no, I'm so glad that you're here. And I think that's just it's gonna be beautiful. And I can say, having been from living I grew up in Alabama. I grew up on the Gulf Coast. My parents lived in Texas 10 years ago now. And so we lived in Mobile during Katrina. And then my parents moved to Rockport just in time for Hurricane Harvey. Um, and you're right. You can lose those things. Because twice now we have lost all of our family photos and all of our family recipes, and because you just don't know when anything like a house fire, a hurricane, the technology stops working. So it's so great to have those things backed up somewhere. And I can say that firsthand because now it was really funny. I have a very funny story, and then we'll keep going. My daughter is now, she turns 5 this weekend. I can't believe it. And she was like, Mom, I just had a little boy in January. And she's like, who does Anthony look like? And I was like, she's like, I want to see your baby picture. And I was like, there's not very many. I was like, I would have to ask Nana. I was like, a lot of those got ruined in the hurricane. And she was like, what do you mean? What do you mean your baby pictures aren't on Nana's phone? And then I had the realization that because all of her pictures are on my iPhone, she had like zero concept that like printed pictures and them being ruined. She was like, well, they're just on Nana's phone. Ask her to text this one. And I was like, that's not that's not how that happens. So it made me laugh, but then it did make me realize like how lucky we are that these things are digitally backed up. So you're right in that it's time to get it off the camcorder and somewhere more in the cloud, as everyone would say. But no, thank you for being here. Our second place, I'll share. They couldn't make it today. But whoops, that's not it. Here we are. Our second place was Miss Pamela, and I'll read her story quickly. She was actually submitted by her daughter as well. We got a lot of great daughters out here, guys. My mom is the heart of my family, always putting others before herself. She moved back to Texas to care for her dying sister, checks on her elderly mother, and showers her grandchildren with affection. She's even opened her home, and all those around her for incredible meals. Some of the greatest memories that we've made have been around her dinner table, sharing wine, laughter, and other dishes that she's created. And we still talk about those evenings to this day. She's an incredible cook and is now remodeling her home and planning to host future holidays and keeping the family tradition alive. Her story is one of strength, compassion, and unwavering devotion. So we'll celebrate Pam, even though she couldn't be with us today. And then we have Rick, who is our third place winner, and he nominated his wife Cecilia. He, excuse me, Rick. And I'll read his story as well. Let's see, where is this? She's a mother of 3, a grandmother of 7, and a great grandmother of 5. She just turned 82 today, April 18th. She's such an amazing. This would be such an amazing gift for a woman who gives and does so much for her family and friends. She is the one always cooking and baking something for everyone. She's learned how to cook and take care of everyone from her Italian mother. She taught her. Oh, I lost my place. She taught her for cooking, always cooking for 10, and so always make enough food for 20. She's passed down her cooking ability to her daughters and granddaughters. She's always doing everything for everyone else. It's her turn for us to do something nice for her. Thank you for considering her for this. Rick, I think that was so kind. Cecilia is not feeling well today, so she couldn't join us. But she sounds like an amazing woman. And I think everyone is so lucky to have her in her life. And thank you so much for sharing that story. She sounds lovely. I don't know. There you are. Hey, Rick.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Course, and we hope that she feels better soon. He's like, I am too. I'm hungry, guys. So, but thank you for being here. All right, we're going to move on now, and we're going to go into. We do this occasionally where we share a book just to kind of inspire you and walk you through the process of another cookbook creator. Today, I'm actually going to share in the theme of mothers. I'm going to share the book that I made for my mom called Nana's Cookbook. It's a collection of the Riley family recipes. I'm going to walk you through my methodology and how I created this book. Then we'll save time at the end for a Q&A as well. So Nana's Cookbook is a collection, and it's interesting because my mother-in-law was definitely one of those people who had all of her recipes, not in a recipe box, but in a recipe drawer. Like, it looked like a junk drawer. I kind of wish I had a picture of what her recipes looked like and started off with, because they were in a Ziploc in a drawer. So hers was really easy, and I'll have to share how I did her cookbook at a different camp, because I did it in a very different way. I used We Type It to do all of the recipes, just because they were all written down. My mom was unique, and almost Sandra can understand this, in that none of her recipes were written down. And so I had to get the recipes. I did it over a Thanksgiving. And I had mentioned earlier, they live in Texas. So we're about 18 hours. We were about 18 hours away from each other. So I flew down for Thanksgiving, and what I did was I knew most of the recipes she would be making at Thanksgiving. And so I just grabbed a pen and paper, and as she was writing them down, I would stop her, because again, she would say, like, I'm just following my heart. I actually got a scale, and as she followed her heart into the bowl, I would write down what that weight of the ingredient was, because again, Marissa, you understand this. She was trying to move quickly because she had a whole Thanksgiving meal to prepare, and I was like, measuring it out. She's like impatient, like, we gotta go, we got Thanksgiving. So I just bought that scale and would stick it right underneath the bowl. And as she was dumping and following her heart and seasoning everything, I was writing down how much of each of that ingredient was for the cookbook. So Thanksgiving, gosh, it was probably 2018. I got all the recipes written down in a spiral notebook. And I did that just by bringing my weighted scale and sitting it on her cabinet. And as she was going through each thing, I was jotting down those ingredients and exactly what she did. And then I actually did use We Type It to have it typed so that I didn't have to type any of those recipes. So that's how I got the collection of the Riley family recipes out, which I'm really glad I did, because a lot of those recipes, I think I could create them. But my mom's the one who does the cooking at the holidays. So it would be from memory, and I'm sure it wouldn't be back. So I'm really happy that I do have those now all in one place. A couple of them I just had to ask her because they weren't necessarily recipes that she was making for Thanksgiving. So it did take me a few weeks to get all of her recipes out of her brain and into the cookbook. I'm going to share my screen and give you guys a quick tour of the cookbook itself. Here we go. All right. So I got all the recipes in her account. This guy's taking to open. And I knew what I did is once I had all the recipes together, I kind of broke it into what sections worked. And for her, it's the typical traditional appetizers, breakfast, bread, soup, salads, entrees. That worked really well for her collection of recipes. We've talked about this in the past. Depending on when you look at your collection, if you have a really vast collection of recipes, you might want to break those desserts. I think for some of them, I did break out the candies just because she had quite a few candies to put all of those together. And then all the rest of the desserts really just kind of got put into one section because she had enough that it made it comfortable. Taking a minute to think about your family collection and how they will be used is how I would organize those recipes. And again, there's not a right or wrong answer. I have seen families do this by cuisine or by holiday, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and they'll put them in. I've seen family do them. If you're doing a community or a family book, we've got Aunt Sue, Aunt Brenda, grandma, and they'll do it by the contributor. And then I've also seen where they're doing it by holiday and by contributor. So those are just ideas. There's not a right or wrong. So this is for hers. Other things that I did that just from a design aspect, once I laid the book out, it was fairly easy. I wanted my mom's kitchen. I wanted to keep it kind of in theme so that she has it because she has her book sitting out on the counter. I wanted it to kind of match her kitchen. So I went with a floral background on the cover, and I just did the spine cover. Don't look too closely because we actually use this and there's a little bit of a little spill in there. So I did a similar like white color for the spine, and then I just brought the image around to the back of the back of the cover. And so this way it looks really nice and clean and it matches partition in her space. There's a lot of different ways you can do section dividers, but for hers, I actually kept it really simple. I brought that same image, which is just a stock image in our designer, onto the section dividers and used those for all of our section dividers and just changed out the word. Another design decision that I made is I went with, if you want to use a serif, that's like a fancy squirrely design, absolutely you should, but I strongly suggest only using that on the cover, the headlines like here and here, not here. That's very difficult for people to read. So scripts should only be used in those places. I actually went and let's see exactly what font size I used. I used a 15. I did this because my mom wears reading glasses and I didn't want her to have to go back and forth and in the book to see things with her reading glasses. So I purposely went with a larger font size. When it comes to fonts, the kind of technical answer is if you can read a newspaper comfortably, that's a size 10 font. If you want it to be a little bit bigger, if you have someone who has reading glasses, you want to go with at least a 12. And really, if they're wearing reading glasses, probably a 14 or 15. And so that's as far as font size. And you want to go with either a serif or sans serif, which a couple of good options for here. This is going to be Montserrat that I've used, Open Sans, and let's see, Open Sans here and Helvetica are also really easy to read, nice fonts to use for your ingredients. And then the last thing that I did was really simple. I just went in and kind of added those family photos just so that as Nana's making these recipes, she's seeing all the faces that she's making them for. And if I had a couple of images of food that she's created, but most of these are just our family photos. There's my mom right there, and there's my little girl. That's 4 years ago. There's my dad and my daughter, and just kind of stuck in different family photos, and not every single page. There's all the grandbabies, um, just to really add in those last touches, and had it printed. So she loves her book. I printed hers in the premium paper because of the family photos. For her, I actually printed it for myself in the Right in the Rain. And the reason for that is my little one comes in the kitchen a good bit and she is messy. And so the Right in the Rain is the spill resistant, water resistant paper. And so that there's the whole family there. So yeah, that's the Briley family cookbook, guys, and that's kind of we'll walk you through my methodology. We'll kind of lead into you can ask me questions about my book, about my process, or you can ask me any question about any book, or anything that you're trying to work on, and I'll be happy to answer. At the 12:50 mark, I'm going to stop and share about our new program. If you want to work one-on-one with us, and if you have interest, you can feel free to stay. But let's right now talk about all things cookbooks. So if you have a question, raise your hand. There's the react down at the bottom. I'll call your name. You can unmute yourself, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you aren't comfortable with chatting, you can also pop it in the chat and I'll try to read those as well. All right. Miss Joan. At bottom left-hand corner, there should be like a little audio.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi. I'm having lots of fun with the cookbook and got some of my relatives involved with it. But you showed it where you were displaying your cookbook, where you had an array of all the pages. How do you
Yeah.
do that? How do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
do that?
Yes, ma'am. Let me show you. So at the bottom, there's this little, you'll see these little tiles. If you click that, whoops, you click that, you'll see it come up. And that way you can go straight to any page that you want to. A little trick, you hit.
Do that again. Would you do that again?
Yes, ma'am.
Where,
I'll do it
so
again.
I'm on a recipe, and then I go to,
See how you
where?
had that flipper down here at the bottom?
yeah,
Okay, there's right down here, it's like 9 little tiles right there. I'm gonna zoom in so
Okay.
you can really see it. You click that and it's gonna bring up your book that you can scroll through. And if you double click on anything, you can go straight to that page.
and then one more question while I have you.
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
My niece is a very good artist, so she wants to design her own cover.
Uh-huh.
Can she do that? And what does she have?
Absolutely.
A PDF or something?
Do you want
Is
to
that-
save it? She wants to save it as a PNG.
Save it
can-
as what? Say that again?
a PNG.
PNG,
Yes, ma'am.
parent Nancy, grapes.
Yes, ma'am. Parent Nancy Grapes. I like that. Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it's hard when you're on a computer, voice is muffled, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'll try to speak more clearly. I've been told I've got to slow down and speak louder. I'm going to work on that.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead now with whatever else you were gonna do. I didn't know how to get that array of the cookbook. I've been through it page by page, but
Yeah.
I never saw that array at the top.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That makes sense. The last thing you want to tell her is when she's designing that cover, an 8x10 to design it 8x10. That's kind of the dimensions.
Even though the cookbook is only 6 by 8, or
It'll scale. That's going to be the most scalable with all the different
design
items.
it as 8 by 10.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. I'm excited to see it. Oh my goodness. She's an
Oh,
artist.
we have 50 some recipes in already, you know. Yeah.
Nice. Very good. Hey, Miss Brenda.
Hey, how are you, Christina?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know, a long, long time. Hey, what font and size did you use again for Nana's front cover? I like that, the way it looks.
So the front cover, I did. I actually went into Canva and made the front cover. I'll show you.
Okay.
Uh, Actually, yeah, that's the image that I did on there because I went with that angled.
Okay,
And I believe it was Sacramento that I went with on
okay.
that, and I just did that in Canva and had it fill the image.
Now, how do you input that from Canva to the cookbook?
I just saved it as an image. See right there?
Okay,
And
cool.
it
I didn't know
imported
that.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I always learn from you.
Oh, thanks. All right. Any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand. Okay, Christine, how did you add the pictures? Add the pictures both on the covers and the recipe pages. Okay. So if you want to add images, I'm going to start with the cover. To add an image on the cover, you're going to want to hit the edit icon. You'll come to the picture tab and you're going to add photo. You're going to want to upload it from your computer. It also connects to Facebook if you had images on your Facebook. For the recipes, the first thing is you want to make sure that you're using a recipe layout that includes a photo. So you'll go to the layout tab and you're going to select any of the ones that have a photo. Then this picture tab will appear. And again, you can upload from your computer or Facebook, and that's how you get those images. We also have some stock images if you wanted to use those that really kind of help add to it. There are some that are free and there are some that are $1.50. The ones that are $1.50 are a one-time fee of $1.50 when you go to checkout. It's not $1.50 per book. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
So if my recipes are already uploaded or in the book and I didn't lay them out as one that had a picture, is it pretty easy to go in and say, okay, I chose this layout, but now I want to lay out with a photo?
Absolutely. And I would just honestly, I would just pop through it and just edit each one, hit edit, go to the layout, change the layout, add the photo, and then hit
Okay.
save, and that'll update it. You could, in theory, if you wanted to, delete the pages and then come in and add them again and select one with a photo. I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. It really depends on
Okay.
you.
And similarly, we've been talking about font. So again, I have them all in there, but I don't really like the font that I chose. So I want to change that throughout the entire book.
Yes. So what you want to do is make sure that when you're editing, that you're editing all pages. When you make that edit and it's all pages, it will make the change throughout the book unless a page says this page only. And really the only time you should be using the editing style for this page only is if you're trying on that one page to do something slightly different, but I avoid using this page only altogether.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. I love that green in your office. I'm trying to bring sage into my office as well. It's great. All right. Soul Dad, hey.
Hi, good morning. Uh,
Morning.
to know, is there like a trick for the auto arrange?
Yeah.
Because I put all, most of the food in one section, but when I
Uh-huh.
press auto arrange, it's still all over the place. It's
So
not.
if you hit auto arrange and you're having any issue, it should tell you. I'm gonna try and trick it into having an issue. So I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna take this category out just for a second. All right. So if I had one that didn't have a category and I go to see it saying there's a recipe without a category, so now it's telling me what's wrong. What I would do in that situation is go to the recipe box and I would filter and say, I want to see all the ones with no category. And now I know these are the ones that don't have a category. And that should fix your problem. If there's another issue, like maybe there's a section divider missing, and let's go ahead and try to recreate that. All right. So if I went to auto arrange and I'm missing a section divider, it says, hey, you need to add a section divider for the following recipes. It gives me two options. I can either reassign those to a different category that already exists, or I can just create the section divider, which I'm going to go ahead and do. That's spelled right. Yeah. Let's grab the image. And I'm going with the layout for the full design, fill image, save. Okay, so now I should be able to auto arrange and not have any issues. So auto arrange is really cool because if you drag the section divider, let's just say, for example, really cookies should be down here. And I hit auto arrange, it will pull that recipe down to the section and put it there. So now I don't have to move all the recipes. I can just move the section divider, hit auto arrange, and it'll pull the recipes to that section divider. Does that make sense, Soledad?
It does. It does.
Good. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank-
Hey, Mr. Rick, what can I do?
Okay, so way back when we talked about the cookbook and incorporating my blog, taking the recipes from the blog and putting them into the cookbook.
Yeah.
And you had said that it was possible to do, but when I go into the book and I click on the recipe box, there's only like 3 recipes in there.
I'll have to Brick, what I'm gonna do is at the end, I'll have you hang back for a second and we'll take a look. But since that's such a special case, if it's okay, I'll catch you at the very end and we'll look further into that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right. I have Christine. How do you add pictures? We answered that. Okay, any other questions? Miss Debbie, hey. Nope, you're muted.
I'm trying to unmute it. So, I just wanted to let you know my Snack Shack cookbook arrived. So here she is.
Oh my goodness.
And
It's beautiful.
I know. She's cute.
She is cute.
Yeah. For a little bit of background, there's 20 recipes in here. It's 32 pages. I was so excited to do it, and I was so excited to get it. And I would say, this cost like $19.95. I'm working on a larger family cookbook, and having done what I just did, I would recommend, if you can spare the $20 as you're working on your big cookbook, like take a section, if you get a section done, like your appetizer one, do this little 20-page book. Because when it came, right, I had not bought a book prior to this, hadn't seen one from your company. And so doing this, like, made it real. One, made it real. And then 2, I could actually see what the paper was like, what sizes, the fonts looked like on the page, what the colors looked like, just all of it. And so it was so great to like actually have it, actually know longer term what my bigger one is going to look like. Like 20 people at this point have now seen it and are so excited for my big book to come too. So yeah, if yours there's a long
story, Debbie. Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So guys, at the end we'll talk about this, but we have a new service. I don't want to, it's our cookbook, and I'm gonna have Miss Debbie stay because she'll walk you guys through some of it too. It's called White Glove, and we'll work with us. But Miss Debbie was our very first beta person ever. So she's our guinea pig. And she's amazing. So I know her very well. I know her story very well. She's got 2 cookbooks. She's got one that's like her family collection that she's doing. But Miss Debbie has a son who's graduating June 4th, I believe. And she has been the Snack Shack queen, and done all of the raising funds for all the different sports. Her son played baseball, but basically she's done it for basketball. She's done it for football. She's done it for baseball. She is the queen of the Snack Shack. She's leaving and no one knows her recipes. Because her son, she's not leaving, she's graduating. And so this Snack Shack cookbook is what is going to keep the Snack Shack going, because they sell soups and things. She's been so ingenious in that, most Snack Shacks are just come get your nachos and a hot dog. She's actually served real meals that you would really want to serve to your family. And so the parents have been so supportive because now they can come to all the events and their kids are having a real dinner and you don't feel so bad. And so she has taken and made like a mini version of her family cookbook that she's working on, the bigger one. And that's the Snack Shack cookbook. So it's got two purposes. One, it's so the Snack Shack can keep going with her recipes. And two, they're going to kind of sell it as a fundraiser if people want to go home and make those recipes themselves. And they have all of her collection. And so Miss Debbie has been just so amazing in working with us, and she's been such a joy to work with. I'm so glad that you're here. But yeah, that is the Snack Shack cookbook. And so I'm so happy that it came today and that you're able to share it with us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we did our baseball banquet on Monday, and the book arrived like Monday to an hour before I left, and so I just threw it in my bag, and all the parents were passing it around. Because I included photos of the various teams over the 4 years, and
Will you open it up and show
yeah,
everybody the inside of one? Is that okay?
yeah. I'm like this thing. Yeah. So here's my. I'm trying to see. This is like one of the team dinners. So
Yes.
it's funny. Like I say, I cook for my family of 4, but I cook for a football team of 40, or I cook for the Snack Shack of 400. I did do story pages.
I love
There's
it. Yes.
so even though there's 20 recipes, it's 32 pages long
Yes.
because I did story pages to explain, why some like the tips and tricks of how do you cook pasta for 40 people on your 4-burner stove. It's not as simple as
There's a methodology.
yeah.
Figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I did have photos of some of our like finished, like these are the Snack Shack tacos. So I had some of those things just because we use them in our advertising. So I do Instagram posts every game to let people know what soup we're selling or whatnot. So I did have quite a few recipes that I could pull from, team photos I could pull from. Um, most of my recipes for in soup season started, might have started from a place of having as a written down recipe, but about half of them just were in my head. And so going back to these recipes that don't live anywhere but in a person, those are the ones that even for myself, they were my recipes, and they were the most challenging for me to get out of myself. So it does take a dedicated amount of time and focus to stop and make that happen. But now that it's done, it's a joy even for myself to know that I'm not going to have to be explaining it was this recipe with 6 modifications.
Exactly.
Now everybody will know. So
Miss Debbie, don't run off. Don't leave, because I'm gonna call you back to the stage here in a minute and
no worries.
Brain. But thank you for joining. I didn't know Miss Debbie was coming. She's a real treat today. All right, Miss Sita, how do I say your name correctly?
Sita.
Sita, I love that. Thanks for being here today. What can I help you with?
So I have a lot of recipes in Copy Me That, and I can export it to an HTML document.
Okay.
All right, and I've also imported it into Recipe Keeper, but I don't know how to bring them into this app.
Do me a favor. Can you email support@Create My Cookbook? I'm gonna put that in the chat. Email them the HTML document. There's a very good chance that we could probably import that for you. I can't promise.
Oh, okay.
I think we could probably import that for you. So send that over cookbook.com.
Support@cookbooks.com or createmycookbook.com.
And
okay.
We'll take a look. We can help you. I can't. We'll help you come in there. I promise. Don't worry.
Thank you.
We'll get you there. All right, fantastic. All right, guys, we got about 7 more minutes of questions.
Christine, I don't know where to find the little hand.
That's okay. Miss Valerie, what can I help you with?
Well, I think I'm almost finished with the cookbook. It's a thick cookbook.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to cost me. I haven't gotten to that point, but
how many pages are you at?
It's over 100.
Okay, that's a good size. Yeah.
And I've had it a while, and I'm under the impression that it's when I put the order in that I pay or whatever. Is that how it works?
Yes, ma'am.
Because yesterday, I have a friend coming over on Monday because I am not computer savvy. I can't stand this with myself right now. And she's coming. So I'm working, I'm looking and going over each recipe to make sure I have it, no misspellings and all that. Then I get a notice that I have to pay $9 for a year and 29 something for,
I can make it
yeah.
tonight if you want.
I think Miss Judith, I'm gonna mute you real quick and then so yes, we are the software is we do for a year, it's completely free. And then I'll be honest with you, Miss Valerie. If you reach out to support and let them know you're working on your book and about ready to order, we are gonna move.
I did, and they
Okay.
gave me till June 4.
We can extend that for you and we'll be happy to do that. I'll be honest, we were running into an issue where we don't charge for the software. We are moving to like some plus plans where we're putting in a lot of work to the designer that are going to cost. But the only way that we were monetizing was on the cost of books, and we had a lot of people using it as just recipe storage, and we were
Yeah,
fine with
I
it.
can
And so
understand that.
that's where the $9.95 came. We were like, we got to do some. We don't want them to not be able to use it, but we were talking like 10 years and never ordered
I
books.
thought I was bad.
And we were like, oh gosh, we don't like, we've got to do something. Cause I mean, it costs a lot of money to store all the recipes. So if you ran into that and you're working on your book, reach out to support. They'll be happy to extend it for you. But that's what you saw that for.
Yeah, that's okay, because I thought that was awfully generous of the company anyway, because I'm in La La Land and I'm just, finally I got it going.
Oh,
And I'm really at the point that I'm going to print it because my daughter's shower is in June 28th. So that is, I know I'm almost done. And then when I got that, I always said, oh my God, it stopped me in my tracks. And then I did email, but they said I have until June 4th, which I hope I'll finish it. How long does it take to print?
So it depends. Printing is a combination of two things. It depends on the binding style that you choose and the shipping method. And I'll show you the easiest way to do that, to figure out exactly when you need to order by. If you go to the website, let me get it pulled up and then I'll share my screen. Okay. So if you go to the website and down at the bottom here, you'll see the shipping. Here are all the different binding styles and how long they take. And here are all the different shipping methods. So if you were going with a softcover YRO, 3 to 5 business days. And then depending on the binding style you choose, like we have everything from medium L to next day air if you needed it. So yeah, that's how you would get a general idea of how much time you need. I will say right now, with it being slower, it's on the lesser end of things. When you get to
Oh,
the
good.
holidays, guys, if anybody's here, a holiday gift, holiday cookbook, when we get to the holiday season, you're really looking at that lighter. So if it says 3 to 5 business days, it's closer to 5 business days. And the US Postal Service too slows down. So if it's 2 to 6, you're good. So right now, you want a budget.
And I'd like to do a hard-covered one to give her, but then I like the binder so I could order different times and different. So if I get the one with the binder to give her, I can have that, and then I could order, because I want one, but I haven't decided how I want it. If I want the binder, if I want it in the other thing, but I am close.
You're so close. It's gonna be
So
great.
anyway, I found the right person to help me, but that's for sure.
Oh, good.
All right,
I'm
that
so
makes me
excited.
feel good. And I might email you if I need an extension from June 4, because yeah.
Yes, we'll take care of you. I promise. The whole point of that really, guys,
But
is
I agree with you.
I know.
I can understand it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Soledad?
Yes, I recently requested a link, and after she sent it to me, I went in and made some changes, made some edits.
Okay.
Now, use the same link, or do I need a new one?
You requested a link. What was the link for?
for the book, like if I wanted to send it out publicize it.
Oh, I see. Yes, if you've made edits, you need to regenerate your proofs and approve them, and the link will be fine, but you have to make sure that you've regenerated and approved those proofs.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Good question.
Thank-
Joan asked if I had a recommendation for cover style. Do you mean, Joan, are you on? Can you unmute, or it's okay if you can't. If you mean like the physical binding, or do you mean the like just the general style of the cover?
I mean the physical binding.
You mean the physical, sorry, go ahead.
Physical binding?
Yeah, so my favorite personally is the hardback YRO. I just really like it. I gotta get my camera where I can. There we go. I like that one.
Okay.
The hardback ring binder
Joe,
is I just recently
Christina, can you show that again, the hardback? Okay, so then it comes with
Yep.
the pages that flip in it.
Exactly. And if you're imagining, it reminds me of a cookbook my mom had in our kitchen growing up. It's like the red gingham book, Holmes. It kind of reminds me of that. I guess the feel I get from it. The ringed binder is really great as well. It's the exact same book as this. The only difference is this guts right here. This is a ring, and the binder is the binder mechanism. The outside looks exactly the same. Those are my two favorite. If you're doing a coffee table cookbook, and if you're doing Miss Brenda, we'll talk about this in a second. She's doing an heirloom book, and it's gonna have like a family tree in it, and she's just really it's really telling a story. That is I like the hardback case bound. It looks really nice on a coffee table, just the way it sits. If you're doing it like a family reunion, you've got a lot of copies to give away. I think the softcover perfect bound, which is what Miss Brenda showed everybody earlier, that she's doing for the cuisine, that's a good one for like passing out for family and friends. So I think it depends as far as Joan, I hope I'm answering your question. It depends on your goal for the cookbook. If it's a functional cookbook, hardback YRO or ring binder. If it's meant to look pretty and tell a story, hardback case bound. If you're passing it out to all the grandkids, cousins, aunts, and uncles, maybe the softcover perfect bound.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I
And
needed.
what we see a lot of people do is they'll order a handful of the hardback case bounds, hardback YRO, for like grandma, the aunts and uncles, and then they'll order a bunch of copies of the soft cover for family and friends to have a copy. And so we see
That's a good idea.
That's what most people do. So just to give some ideas.
So you can order two different styles.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And can you talk a little bit about, my target date is to give them away for Christmas of 25. Probably should be finished then by late September, early October.
You could even finish in November, and you would be fine.
Okay.
We have people who sign up in November and finish and order like first, second week of December, and they get it.
Wow.
That I know. That would make me a little anxious. I'm also a planner. And so
I'm too much of a
you're
planner
close.
to-
If you can order in September, all the better. I do suggest if you're ordering a big batch, do one copy, because like Miss Debbie said earlier, you want to see it in print. If there's any edits that you want to make, it's just something about having that one copy in hand that feels really nice. And if you have the time, you do, Miss Joan, you've got plenty of time, order you a copy and take a look at it, and then you can go in and make your big order.
Yeah, when I did an ancestry book and they sent me a proof copy and I found it, and when you type, you sometimes make a
There's
stupid
something
mistake.
about that, like having it in the physical.
Right.
And another trick, guys, if you don't have time to order the proof, that I like to do is you can, when you generate those proofs, you can print them out at home. It'll have the watermark, but still having it on that physical paper, it helps me really see anything that I want to, any edits that I want to make. Donna's asking about the cover. Yeah, 8x10 for Canva. That would work for your cover as well. All right,
So-
guys. Sorry, go ahead, Valerie. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
what
off.
you just said, that you order a proof copy?
You can if you want to. You can order a single
You can get
copy.
it exactly as it would be, or,
Mhm.
so I don't
You're
know
just
if I,
ordering a single copy of the book and then going back. If you needed to make edits, you can, and then ordering what you
or
want.
I could just order it and then one book, and then if I have to correct it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people are ordering like 20 copies for the holidays. So before they do that, also 20 is when we start doing quantity discounts. So that's why a lot of people order 20. But it's like order one copy, make sure you like everything, and then order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
Because
sense. Thank
when-
you.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
might be her gift if it's perfect.
exactly. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm going to talk about our newest service. You've probably seen marketing emails. We've been promoting it a lot. It has been in the works for a year. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to go over it with you guys. I'm going to stay and answer questions. This is our one-on-one white glove service. I actually have two. I invited Miss Brenda always comes. She shows up. She's great. I asked Miss Brenda if she would be here. She is one of our beta testers. And so you guys could ask her questions, meaning she's going through the service now. But Miss Debbie showed up too. So you got two. Miss Debbie is our first. She's our first ever white glove. She's here. You guys can ask her questions as well. But I'll run through what the service is, and then I'll be quiet, which is hard. My mom's probably going to be like, wow. I'll be quiet and let you guys ask Brenda and Miss Becky questions about their experience. And so, yeah, I'm going to jump into that now, and then I'll send a replay. It'll probably be tomorrow morning. I try to get it out same day, but the reality is it always goes out the next morning. So I just need to start setting that expectation. Replay will go out tomorrow morning that has our video of this if you want to rewatch it. And I'll also, I know we talked a good bit about fonts. I'll send some of my favorite font suggestions in that email so you guys can look at them. We actually have a PDF resource that gives some style inspiration. I'll send that in the email so you guys can look at it, and it'll have suggestions on different font pairings. It'll have suggestion on cover design. And so that'll be in the email as well. All right. So without further ado, let's chat about the white glove service. Let me get my screen pulled up. I'm so excited. So I'm going to tell a long story as to how we got to the white glove service. It was inspired by you guys, by the customers. For years, people have asked and said that they wanted to work. They wanted a phone support is what they really wanted. And I'll be honest, it would be really difficult for us to offer phone support and maintain our prices. And so we started camp was our first step towards this. And that was so like everybody can come ask their questions, see that we're real life people and answer them in person. And that kind of was our first step towards white glove. And then we still have people say like, I want to work with someone one-on-one. This is a big project. Do you have, can I work with you one-on-one? And we didn't have that service, but that is essentially what we have created. So with the white glove, we've created a service where you get to work with one-on-one with a cookbook expert who is going to help you with everything on your cookbook. They're going to you'll start off with a kickoff call. You'll come up with a project timeline, your project vision. They'll take care of everything. They'll be checking in with you via email, and you'll have 5 one-on-one meetings with them to make sure that everything's on track. We'll handle all the recipe collection, formatting, and prep. The 5 meetings will be, you'll have your first, I'll go into the detail of each one of these, but you'll have a kickoff meeting, your recipe entry and organization meeting, your design and formatting meeting. This is my favorite. And then a review where we're going over all of those things, and then the ordering. So the kickoff meeting, and as far as timeline, we have a lot of questions around this. You set the pace of your timeline. So at meeting 1, if you have an event, we can say we've got to have this done by Valerie, if you were doing your daughter's wedding shower, we've got to have it done by June. We're going to have to push all those meetings very quickly over a 2-week period. If you're like, hey, you're like Ms. Joan, I'm not having to get this done until December, we might space out those meetings to a timeline that works for you. So the timeline is completely up to the customer. So our kickoff meeting, this is when you'll meet with Carly or myself. We'll ask you a bunch of questions. Why are you creating this book? How are you visioning this cookbook? Where are your recipes? We're going to help you think about all the things that you need to be thinking about this project. We're going to clarify your vision, the goals, and talk about timeline. Is it for an event? Is it for holidays? Is it just for yourself? Is it just an organization? We'll map all that out at the end of your first meeting. We're going to email you a project plan that has the timeline and everything that you need for your project. Meeting 2 is going to be between, now you have homework. At the end of meeting 1, you have homework. We're like, all right, you've got to go get all of these recipes and either email them, we'll handle getting them in. You have to, and you're bringing those all to meeting 2, because in meeting 2, we're going to organize those recipes together. We're going to take a look at your recipe collection, help you create the categories, and get the book overall laid out. Then after meeting 2 will be meeting 3. This is where we'll have, you'll come to meeting 3, you'll have a cover designed. You'll have your section dividers assigned. We'll have your book laid out for you. We'll pick your fonts for you. I mean, if you have a preference, we'll take care of that. But from what you're kind of envisioning, we'll handle all of that. In meeting 3, this is where real live in person, you're getting to say, you know, I don't love that cover. Can we make edits? I want my font bigger. I want my font smaller. I don't like that section divider. I love that section divider. That's meeting 3. And so it's just fun because it starts to look pretty. Let's be honest. Meeting 4, we're going to generate those proofs and review them together. Take one last look at the overall flow of the book. This is where if you have any of the stories that you want to include, story pages, family photos, will help you get those in there as well. And then meeting 5 is when you'll be ordering your proof copy of your book. And we'll go over everything together. The things that I'm talking about today, which binding style should I choose? What paper should I choose? We'll ask you the questions and help you make the decision that's right for you and the project that you're working on. If you know this is an organization project and you're going to be using this cookbook quite a bit, we're going to suggest the ring binder with the Write in the Rain paper. If we know that you're going to a family reunion and you need a lot of copies, we'll help you work through, you know, do you want to do the perfect bound or the soft cover, or do you want to do like a hardback case bound? If you are doing have a lot of family photos, we're going to suggest the premium paper with the gloss. We'll help you make all of those decisions and walk you through all the different options together and help you order your book proof. So with the Great Glove experience, you'll be getting the 5 one-on-one meetings with an expert. The expert is Carly. Carly actually started off in corporate, or myself, and we have both. We've done both family cookbooks and corporate. So we've done BBC Good Food over in the UK. We've done projects with them. We've done projects with Hyatt Embassy, BP. So we've done a lot of corporate, larger projects. But we've also done a lot of just family cookbooks. I mean, today you saw my cookbook that I did for my mom, and we've helped many families. So you're getting that. You're going to get the project timeline, all of your recipes typed if needed. You're going to get design services, which is a service that we currently already offer, which includes the cover design, the section divider design, the font selection and pairing. We'll lay out the book, any photo uploads, any story page uploads, all of that. And we kind of valued this, and I'll be completely honest on how we did this. We have the design services and the currently in the we type it. And then we've had people who've worked with project experts, and it was about $1,200. We're going to be offering this at $399. You can book time on mine or Carly's calendar now using that QR code, or I'll send a link at the end if you want to, or if you have any questions. And you'll get all of that for $399. It's a flat fee for the design of your cookbook. And there's kind of a breakdown on how we kind of valued that out. After your first call, if you get done and you say, this isn't right for me, I want to do it myself, I actually can do it myself. After the first call, if it's not a good fit, you can just email support and say, actually, I want to go the DIY route. Can you just refund me my money? We'll refund it. You still get access to the designer. You still have, you know, everything. You can keep your plan, and we'll refund it. But yeah, I want to stop now. Miss Brenda and Miss Debbie, will you raise your hands? They were our beta. They are our first white glove experience, and get them to come chat about it. And if you have questions, you can ask me, but you can also ask real live people who've been doing it. So Where's Miss Debbie and Miss Brenda? Will you raise your hands? There you are. That way it pulls you to the front of the screen. Miss Debbie, we talked yesterday. Do you have anything you want to share about? So she's done 2 meetings. She's working on a family. She's finished her cookbook that you guys saw, but she's also working on a larger one. And I think her next meeting, she'll be doing meeting 3 in July.
I did a meeting right after I met with you actually
Oh,
yesterday. So
oh, funny.
yeah. So I mean, what was great about this was they actually offered to help me do both of my books, because a quick background. When I started, I was dedicated to doing the family cookbook. And then when I realized, there was so much crossover between some of the recipes and then the desire for this Snack Shack cookbook, I started heading down a path of doing 2. And there's a school auction event that's coming up on the 30th. And so I wanted to try to get this copy of the Snack Shack cookbook done and printed in time to put together a basket for that auction. So I was highly motivated to kind of leapfrog the process and get the Snack Shack cookbook done and out first. And so my first meeting with Carly was great because I will say they will meet you where you are in the process, because I had started down the path on both of them. I had run into a little bit of hurdle with my design for my cover for my Snack Shack book. I was close, but I wasn't where it should be. I shared my Canva link with Carly. She jumped in there, and I don't know, within a day she had it completely sorted. So um it was extremely helpful being able to just take pictures of the recipes that I did have printed or documented, shooting those over to Carly. She loaded them, she loaded the pictures, she matched up the pictures with the recipes, she got them into the book. And then she kind of just kept sending me, friendly reminders via email. Where are those other recipes? Where are those other recipes? So that I stayed focused and got them in and done. And literally the night before I met with her to go through the proof of the Snack Shack cookbook, I loaded, the last 3 recipes out of my head into the app. But it was highly motivating. It got done. It's here. It's a week ahead of the event. The basket's together. I dropped it off yesterday. So yeah, super helpful to reach that goal. And then the meeting I had with her yesterday or day before was to circle back now on my family cookbook and take stock of where we are. And what's great was I have a stack 2 inches tall of recipes, and now my time isn't sitting there typing those in, it's taking photos of those. I set up a Google Drive, and I'm saving them all to the Google Drive, and she's going and pulling them from the Google Drive to load them into the app instead of trafficking a bunch of emails with file attachments. That just seemed more logical to me and her, with what we were working on. So I did the same thing with photos. She's loaded all my photos at this point. So now she's like, well, the photos are there. I need the recipes. So now I'm circling back on getting all of that content to her, but super helpful and way more efficient than me spending my time doing all of that. So.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being here. You were surprised. I didn't even know you were coming. So thanks. You're a treat.
I had time today.
Yeah, Miss Brenda was here. Miss Brenda she was in our beta group as well. So you're going into meeting 3 as well, right?
Yes, correct. Week after next is my
Okay.
3rd.
Yeah, and you had your kickoff meeting 2 weeks ago with Carly?
Yes, about then.
And
Go ahead.
So walk us through. You had that meeting and she helped you kind of like get your vision, get your plan together. How did you feel after that first meeting?
Wonderful, because originally I was just going to do a family cookbook for both sides, my husband's and my side. And that was just turning into craziness because I had like over 500 and some recipes, and one's from the north, one's from the south. So it's like, this isn't going to work. I need to separate them and do one for my family and one for his, because of just everything with the different areas that they're from, and just too complicated to not have somebody say, well, you picked your side over his side, or, it's like, we're not going there. I don't need a war, So,
That
Kelly has been beyond phenomenal, as you are as well. And she's given me ideas, and she took my idea of a black and white old family photo of my mom and her parents and her siblings, and the difference of night and day when she put a color background on that cookbook, and things that she has said, oh, let's try this, or what do you think about that? Just absolutely phenomenal. And it is by far the best investment of money I could have ever done, ever.
Thanks, Miss Brenda. You're so sweet. We actually talked to Miss Brenda earlier today. Part of their being our beta group is I bug them and ask them for feedback after every meeting. I'm like, so how was that meeting? Where can we do better? And I talked to Miss Brenda today, and she is from Ohio, and I am from the deep south of Alabama. And we were talking about tea and how hers does not have sugar and mine does. So we were just having that conversation on North versus South. But thank you, Miss Brenda. Anita is asking a great question. So Anita, the white glove service is just for the design fee of the cookbook. And then you can order a proof copy. But it's just the fee. It's a flat fee for the service of design and recipe collection, things like that. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer. Or if you have a question for Debbie or Brenda, again, I'll refresh you guys. Both of them are doing a family cookbook. Debbie was also doing a fundraiser cookbook as well. Brenda is kind of her collection of recipes, just to give you guys some hindsight if you wanted to ask a question. She has recipes, like she mentioned, coming in from both sides. And so she's kind of the collector, and she has her own. And Debbie, a lot of your recipes, they're mostly yours, right? They're your recipes. You're not having to chase anybody down, are you?
They are mostly mine, but I
Yeah.
started my project 12 years ago
Yeah,
in a
I remember
completely
you.
different way. And at that time, when I started, I reached out to various family members. So I do have content from both sides of my family and my husband's family. But when I started the initial book, I'd already gathered those, and I'd already actually put those into a Word file. So when I started this project, I had that base Word file, and the Word file converted with one of the features in your app, and so that stuff automatically went in very efficiently. So, but now I'm to all the content that never got into the original one 12 years ago. So.
Right. No, that makes sense. Fantastic. Well, if anyone has any questions, I step away. The cost of the white glove, Randy, is $3.99. And I can go ahead and pop that back up so that if you wanted to, there's a QR code. And Carly, will you put the link if somebody just wanted to click the link in the chat? Here's the QR code. It goes to Carly's accepting her calendar is a little more open right now, so she's doing you'll be working with Carly. It goes straight to her calendar. If you guys have any questions or you're working on a one-off book, I actually asked Carly to come today. Last camp we talked about this, and I had a bunch of people who followed up and wanted to chat. If you have want to run a few things by Carly quickly, she's here. I can put you in a breakout room and you can ask her a couple of quick questions. And like I said, you can also, if you wanted to book and just sign up for the first call, and if it's not a good fit at the end of that call, you could email support and request a refund. So a couple different ways. And if you have any questions for here, we're actually over time, but I'm going to stay for a couple of minutes. Miss Brenda and Debbie, if you need to go, I totally get it. But if anyone has any, happy to answer.
I just wanted to tell you them one thing that I went ahead and the end of last year, my brother-in-law said, hey, before you do this great big cookbook, why don't you just do a holiday desserts and candies cookbook? So I
Right.
did, and my brother-in-law even named it. I said, okay, fine, whatever. And getting that helped me so much with a visual to do the bigger family cookbooks, because I know what it's going to look like, what the paper, the cover, and Carly and you were beyond phenomenal in helping me accomplish that goal. And it was by far one of the best decisions I've made to do that smaller book first and then tackle the two big ones. So it was just awesome. I would
I love
highly
that.
recommend that.
Thank you. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna assign breakout rooms. It says create assign manually. Let's see. Who said they wanted to go to a room with Randy? You want to go? I'm gonna put you in a room with Carly. If anybody else, let's see. Add a room. Let me assign Randy and Carly. If anybody else wants me to throw them in there with Carly, just to ask like more one-on-one questions, I can do that. Move, and then I'll add Carly. Let's see. We're learning together, guys. Open all rooms. I think I put them in there. I hope so. If anybody else wanted to go, I can hopefully. I mean, I'm gonna Slack Carly and say, make sure I got you in there. Are you in there? I feel like I put him in timeout. I feel like when I tell my kid, go to your room. Okay, yes, they made it. Good. Like, go to your room. Come out with you with a better attitude. I always said I would never say that, but it's said more often than I'd like to admit. All right, guys. Well, if anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to say. If not, that is the end of camp. We'll have another one in 2 weeks. The replay will go out tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Brenda and Debbie, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to stay for a minute because I think if I shut them, I will kick them out of their breakout.
Christina, I wish that you had that from the beginning, because that could have been a big help to me. That I think it's great what you discussed, and the two ladies there that are doing phenomenal. But thank you. I have to leave now, but I might be in touch in case I need.
Yeah. So Valerie, I will tell you, we are working. You may have interest and you may not. It's totally, you can always reach out to support, guys. But if you wanted to, I know we're working on like a cookbook wrap up, which is a 1 meeting session. And it's just to review everything. And if there's any edits that Carly, so it's just kind of a one and done. I can send you information on that if you would like.
Yeah,
That would be a fit for you.
So then I just let you go through the book without me?
It's just a well, no, it's a one-on-one. Like they'll sit on a Zoom. Carly will sit on a Zoom with you and she'll flip through the book and with you make any edits and then help you generate the proofs in order.
Oh, okay. Why not? I have what I think is almost set, but
Perfect. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
send that
send you.
information.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll have Carly reach out as soon as this meeting's over. So if you have any questions, you're in contact with her.
Okay. All righty. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Bye
All right.
now.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye,
Hey,
Christina.
All
Thanks for
right, Rick, are
everything.
you still here? I'm gonna
Yeah.
say Rick. All right. Any
Yeah.
other questions? No. All right. Sounds good. All right. Miss Debbie, do you have any questions?
Oh no, I'm trying to leave.
You're trying to leave. You kind of had your hand up.
Well, I was like,
yeah.
I'm good. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Manel, I think I'll email you if I have anything. So if you want to. This is Manel, guys. This is if you
Hi,
ever
everyone.
support, there's Manel. She helps us. She's pretty great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Dana, did you have any questions? Can I help you with anything? Oh, there she jumped off. Good. All right. Good.
Bye,
All right.
Christina.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, Rick. I know you, I think I'm gonna look up. I think I remember we were working on your blog. I'm gonna go into your
Remember
account.
telling me that you were able to pull them all over, but there's only like 3 of them in the box.
Right. Let me stop recording. And stop recording.